Every time my soon-to-be ex-husband refers to me as the mother of his child, I feel physically ill. I'm 33 female, my soon-to-be ex-husband is 38 male. 6 months ago, I gave birth to a baby girl. We had thought the pregnancy was completely normal, but she was born with heart defect that hadn't been detected during prenatal care. Our daughter only survived a few hours. We were both devastated, and so were our close friends and family. A few weeks after this happened, my husband's close friend admitted me that my husband had been cheating on me for the entire duration of my pregnancy plus for some time beforehand. He was sleeping with one of his co-workers' daughters, 23 female, and had apparently planned on leaving me, but then I got pregnant, so he was going to leave me after the baby was born. Then she passed, so he didn't think it was the right time. I confronted him and kicked him out of the house. I told him under no uncertain terms I was divorcing him and had no intentions on remaining on friendly terms with him. Unfortunately, my husband and I have been together for so long, for 12 years, that it's impossible to have him completely cut off. We're both highly accomplished in our field of work. We're two of the only people around who have our education or experience, so while we don't necessarily work together, we both work for the government, and there are a lot of projects that we design together that require our continued upkeep and attention. This really hasn't been an issue for me. When I work, I hyper-focus on work and not who I'm working with, so I don't have any more communication with him during these times than I would with a complete stranger. But there is one thing that bothers me to no end, and I don't know if this is normal or not. When we first were separating, my husband told me that he would always be the mother of his child and he'd always love me for that. When he said that, I felt a physical revulsion and I honestly wanted to throw up. Being tied to him forever by my sweet, innocent baby is something I can't come to terms with. I know logically she was his child too, but it doesn't feel like that to me. He didn't respect her, or her family. He literally cheated me hours before she was born and hours after she died. He said it a few more times. He says it to colleagues and mutual friends. She'll always be the mother of my child. I'll always love her for that. I want to slap him and tell him to shut up and never say it again. I never want to be reminded that he also had anything to do with our daughter. I also know this isn't fair, and she was his daughter too. And he will always be the sociopath that cheated on his pregnant wife for her entire pregnancy and hours after his baby died. Should be the response to people he says that to. The reason it feels gross when he says it is because it is. He's using your child to lay some sort of claim to you that he doesn't have or deserve. I'd want to shut him up. In this internet world, I imagine I'd say snarky things like, "Unfortunately, my partner was a disrespectful cheater, so I can't feel the same," to call him out when he plays this bullshit game, but it probably wouldn't be helpful. If you loved me as the mother of your child, you wouldn't have cheated throughout my entire pregnancy. So please spare me because your actions conveyed otherwise, and yes, say that to his face, with other people around, etc. Stop letting him control the narrative for sympathy. Every time he says that, destroy him. She will always be the mother of my child. Yes, the one you cheated on during my entire pregnancy. The one you wanted to leave for a 23-year-old, but you were too much of a pussy to actually tell the truth. So you decided to expose me and my child to God knows what kind of STDs because you could not keep your D in your pants. I think after 12 years you and your STBX know how to push each other's buttons. He's saying those things about your baby because he knows that it will trigger you. He is also trying to put a wall between you and moving on to keep some sort of control over you. So remember that once the divorce is over, you'll be able to take all your power back and let him push your buttons no more. Then you'll move on and find the man of your dreams and love of your life, which your STBX was not. You'll get there, I promise. He's using your child to manipulate you, which is a horrible and scummy thing to do. Cheaters like to control the narrative. They like to manage their image. This is his way of doing that. He's only saying it to save face. Everyone will see right through it. A guy I worked with before used to say that constantly whenever he talking about his ex and the divorce. Until the day I got fed up and went, "So you only see her in an incubator and loved her for that reason only? No wonder she left you and your kids refused to see you." He never said it again. I think you have lived through 3 very traumatic events in a very short span of time, and that it is normal to feel disoriented and repulsed. I would suggest you start thinking about therapy as soon as financially possible for you. This is not a burden you need, or even are able to bear on your own. It's okay and of great use to seek help. A stranger living at home. I've, 33M, met my wife, 31F, 8 years ago when she was in a pretty broken state. Anxiety, low self-esteem, lack of confidence. We used to stay hours on the phone talking about life, each other's traumas, and that created a very strong bond between us. We started dating soon after and got even closer. She saw me quitting my job to pursue my dream. I helped her overcome her insecurities and we never had a fight. Every issue was addressed, everything talked through, and nothing was hidden. There was no jealousy, no lack of confidence in each other. That was it, the real deal, right? So, 3 years in a fairy tale of a relationship, I proposed. Every day we got closer and everything was building up to be the perfect wedding, same dreams, same goals, same mindset. Our sex life, on the other hand, took a hit. Her anxiety was piling up, because of her former career. She decided to quit and we moved abroad, so we could both restart our newly wedded life on a fresh new place. Man, did she grow up during the last 4 years living here. From a scary girl filled with traumas from past abusive relationships to a full-on woman, owner of her life. But something started messing with her from the inside out. Trying to build a career as an artist and having to do it during a pandemic didn't help. Being away from her big family neither. And we never actually solved the sex life issue completely. All her psychologic conditions can be traced back to her father and to a lifelong internet friend became boyfriend who fucked up her head for over a decade of psychological abuse. The same guy who, after 7 years in the dark, decided to send her an email just to check if she was actually happy and not only following her life without him, of course. Being the couple we were, she disclosed that to me, said they were talking and that she was finally having some closure on some issues. Asked my position about it and I was honest. I didn't like the idea, but as long as she didn't talk about us and felt it was serving a purpose, I could live with it. And, as expected, after a few days she told me she was done talking to him. That was in the beginning of December 21. That month was brutal. We both worked our asses off, long hours, crossed shifts, never felt so distant, but was for a great cause. We were talking about finally, after 2 years delay, buying a house and having kids. Our biggest dream. To worsen things up, she had COVID symptoms and isolated 7 days. We spent Christmas together. I had COVID a few days later and isolated another 7 days. January 4, after a weird distance between us since New Year's Eve, she said she was moving back to her parents. She couldn't live here anymore. She was losing the growing up of her 5 nephews. She could lose her 89 and 96 years old grandmothers at any time and couldn't afford to be away any longer. She have a ticket for March 18, because she was already going to her cousin's wedding, but now she wouldn't come back. She also said that she can't ask me to throw away what I build here to go with her, because that would be unfair. She knows she can't be happy here, and I will be unhappy there, I won't say which, but our country sucks in every aspect for anyone trying to live a decent, honest life and build a family, and it was one of the main reasons why we moved abroad. Today, after 2 months of couples counseling and being able to accept there's nothing else I can do about it and that she needs to live this and figure out what is that she's really feeling, after 2 months helping her out with whatever she needs to make this moment the least painful for us both, I unwillingly caught a notification on her phone. "Hey baby. Sorry I just woke up, that guy." Then, I willingly opened the message. We have full access, because there was trust, and I saw everything I shouldn't. "I love you. Getting back together. Talking about me." Some very hardcore sexting. Him calling her his woman and me her ex-husband. And, of course, already a few signs of psychologic play from his part. Everything went down the drain and now I see a stranger living in my home. And I alone. Jesus man, that's fucking heavy, peace be with you. This is rough man, an impossible pill to swallow. It raises so many questions and insecurity. As a Reddit bystander I cannot comprehend the full situation of course. But I really want to give you a digital hug-up. I hope you hang in there. Take screenshots of the cheating for your lawyer, it will help, and leave without notice. Cut her off financially and close her access to your accounts. Do not speak to her, every time you will it will hurt in the divorce. She is continuing the same habits as before, she is no longer the same person, she wants to go through this, it's her fault. From now on, all communication happens through lawyers. Note any suspicious transactions she made. Went through something very similar in my first marriage. It was extremely difficult for a bit, but overall it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I did some therapy and self-help sort of stuff during the divorce and learned how to pick better people and spot red flags. Fuck people who look outside themselves for happiness and always need someone else to motivate them or distract them. You're better if alone than what they can do to you. Deep breaths, dropping dead weight is good, this will be good. She's not your friend. She isn't honest anymore. Call a lawyer ASAP and get the divorce paperwork drawn out. Follow their advice. Get a STD panel as well. Do not try to fix the relationship anymore. Plan for the future. I knew where this was headed as soon as you mentioned she got an email from her ex. Sorry this has happened to you. At least you won't be running into each other anymore once she has moved. She seemed very insecure and like she is wanting to seek approval from other people, but she doesn't know what she is doing and how it is hurting you. Take care of yourself first and foremost, and when you are ready, confront her. Maybe it would be favorable to do so before she is leaving. Overall, I'm so sorry this happened to you and hope you can come out stronger in the end. Less than 3. I'm no therapist, but I can say for sure, at the end of something like what you and your wife have ruin you. The only thing left to do is pick up the pieces and build yourself back stronger. It will take time. It will be hard. But it is possible. You just have to let go first. And #X200B. Also, I have read hundreds if not thousands of long Reddit posts. And I can honestly say that this was one of the most well-written ones I have ever seen. I would consider writing if I were you. I just found out my girlfriend is a zoophile and I don't know what to do. My girlfriend and I have been dating for nearly a year now. The sex is great, the relationship is going fairly well aside from the somewhat frequent arrangements, and I absolutely love her to pieces. However, a few nights ago she revealed that she was into bestiality and my heart had completely sunk. She explained that the thought of dogs and humans is a huge turn on and I was internally appalled. I'm a very, very open-minded person when it comes to kinks and sex and even in general life. This however made me sick to my stomach. I can't look at her the same, and every time I see a dog on social media or on my way to work every morning I can't help but think of what she said, and it ruins my day as well as my appetite. I'm also afraid of her reaction because she trusted me enough to tell me. What should I do? I found this out about my ex and I've never been able to look at a German Shepherd the same way again, and it's been 7 years. It's disgusting. You need to break it off. That kink isn't going to go away. My advice would be to get yourself out of there. There's having a kink and then there's something like this won't just disappear. I also highly doubt you would trust her alone around animals at this point. Animal abuse is a turn-on for her? Sounds like a deal breaker to me. Bro, you can never have a dog. Break up with her. Hide the peanut butter. Oh no, no no no. This to me is not an acceptable kink, it's animal abuse. You know that it's likely that where you've put your soldier, she's put an animal part, right? Oh ew, hell no, and I don't care if I get downvoted for kink shaming. This is wrong, and I think that in many places it's illegal. Run far, far away. Edit. I see that in your comments you say that she told you she hasn't acted on it, which I don't really believe. But let's say for argument's sake that she hasn't, it's still highly likely that she's consumed bestiality porn. Meaning that she's okay with other people abusing animals for her sexual pleasure. This is so fucked up. I, 26F. Overheard my partner, 29M. Venting about me to a friend. First off, I wasn't eavesdropping. We have a small townhouse and he was in his home office on Discord with the door wide open. I was in the bedroom with the door wide open, on the same floor only a few feet away, and he was speaking at full volume. We had gotten into an argument earlier because he changes his mind a lot when going to events that makes it hard for me to plan. He will agree to something, then when the time comes tell me he doesn't want to go and also never wanted to go in the first place. I was trying to tell him that I think it's a bad habit and he should just be upfront with people about how he's feeling. I didn't communicate this well and he felt like I was berating him for being flaky. We talked it out, we both apologized and moved on with the day. Later, I'm cleaning the house and about to go make dinner when I hear him very emotionally recounting beat for beat everything I said during that argument. Telling his friend I was berating him for being flaky and how weird it was and how I'm the one person who's always supposed to be there for him. I texted and told him I could hear him, expecting him to be embarrassed and close the door. He didn't. He continued to rant about how there's no privacy in the house. Which, I think a good step one for privacy is maybe closing the nearest door. I felt like his friend's opinion of me has shifted over the past 6 months or so. I thought I was crazy, but maybe this is why. We've both been trying our best but are very emotional people who are easily upset. I think of our relationship as non-toxic and we're pretty good at problem solving. I feel like my trust was pretty heavily broken, but I can't convince him that what he did was wrong. What should I say? Do I feel justified in feeling violated? So you texted him saying you could hear him. You literally chimed in with haven't you people ever heard of closing the goddamn door? I texted and told him I could hear him, expecting him to be embarrassed and close the door. He didn't. You know your boyfriend better than me, but this reads like he's ultra passive-aggressive and too cowardly to discuss issues with you directly, so he instead has these loud conversations so he can tell you how he feels, without actually having to communicate with you. Does that seem accurate at all, or am I off base? Venting about your relationships is one thing. I'm finding his incredibly passive-aggressive approach of, loudly whine and complain about my girlfriend while I know she can hear me, to be both tragically funny and a sign of his immaturity. Normally talking over what we're comfortable with our partners sharing, appropriate ways to do so is something that just needs to be talked through. I'm honestly not sure that's an option though, since that assumes a mutual respect for each other that doesn't seem to be present here. Dude's almost 30. The cowardly drama queen, talk shit around but not to approach shows that he's got a long way to go before he's ready to actually have productive conversations about respect. Your only mistake is thinking of it as non-toxic. He's being ridiculously childish in the way he's responding to a valid concern you brought up, and thought was resolved. He's speaking loudly and keeping the door open to fuck with you. He wanted you to hear that. It's passive-aggressive. What a loser. I definitely will vent to my friends like, fiancé and I are just at each other's throats today. I keep getting annoyed. But to sit and recount a full argument and insult you is beyond not okay. That would be a deal-breaker for me. Ironic how he says, she's the one who is supposed to be there for me, while literally shit-talking you. Awful. So he's passive-aggressive in addition to be flaky. Sounds like a dreamboat. Do you really want to be the surrogate mother for a man-child?